Hello friends, and thank you so much for coming by this reading. Today we are going to be looking at chakra healing. So this is going to be trying to get some insight into what is blocking your energy and how can we be moving forwards. So for each reading I'm going to pull out 3 different chakras, and we will look at what is blocking that and how you might be able to work with that energy. And then there will also be a final alignment message for each of the readings. So we have 3 readings today. They are number 1 with this quartz cluster, number 2 with the citrine, and number 3 with the dendritic agate. So please, as always, do take some grounding breaths before you choose your pile. The more calm and centered that you can get your energy, the more easily you will be able to select the reading that will have the message for you. And of course, these are general readings intended to be seen by multiple people, so some of it may not apply to you, and don't worry if it doesn't apply. Just take what fits and leave the rest behind. So each of the timestamps for the reading are going to be in the description box below, so whenever you have figured out which reading is for you, you can click your timestamp and it will take you right to it. So go ahead and pause the video, do whatever you need to do to choose your pile, and I will see you at your reading. Hi group 1, so we have your root chakra or base chakra as it is represented on this card, your throat chakra, and your crown chakra. So with the root chakra, we're looking at feelings of home and safety, and this would be tied into your sense of worth in your physical environment, your relationship to your physical environment, to even having a body and being a physical human being and having to manage all of the processes associated with that, like nourishing yourself, like supporting yourself physically, like keeping your body healthy, keeping your home environment safe and healthy, anything like that, that would be tied into your root chakra, and this is your kind of sense of safety in this physical world. And if you have imbalances here, they might manifest as fears around that. They might manifest as overeating perhaps because of this relationship to the physical and needing to ground yourself. They might come out in low back issues or digestive issues, especially to do with the bowels, like constipation, diarrhea, stuff like that. This is all things which could be associated with an imbalance in your root chakra or your base chakra. So then we have your throat chakra, and this is to do with communication, your ability to represent yourself truthfully without fear. Your clarity, your ability to speak, your ability to sing if that's something that you're into. There's again an element of fear here. If there is a blockage in this chakra, which would be to do with being afraid to be seen for who you are and to communicate who you are. Physical symptoms of an imbalance in this chakra might be like getting a lump in your throat when you go to speak, or frequently getting a sore throat, or getting like TMJ or jaw issues where you're really kind of clamping down rather than allowing this to be open and expressive. You might be anxious to express affection or enthusiasm, or just anxious to speak your truth, to say what you feel if it is opposing anything that is around you. So that's the throat chakra. And then we also have the crown chakra. And so an imbalance here, this would look like headaches, depression, mental and emotional imbalance, because the crown chakra, this is our connection to the divine, this is our connection to the universe, and this is us being an open channel for source energy and feeling that connection and feeling like universal love. So that would be like non-specific love, and this is the kind of love that might come over you in meditation or in, you know, dance or movement or something where you're just really flowing. It's not necessarily like a specific love directed towards a particular person. It is just the feeling of love that you might be able to open up to, and this is our crown chakra. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out some cards to find out what is blocking each of these chakras for you, and then we are going to try and find a message to see how we can open this up or move past it or begin to work with that energy. So we're getting into the kind of energy healing. Okay, group 1, so taking a look here at what is blocking your root chakra, we have the Father of Swords and the Six of Wands in reverse. So this is a very strict or authoritarian, or perhaps a little bit angry mental energy, which either you encountered when you were young or throughout your life, through your culture, through your family, or you've internalized it somehow. Either you've internalized it or you are actually physically dealing with this in a person. But what happens with this dynamic is your safety is withheld because of the idea of what is like legitimate and what is not legitimate. Because with the Six of Wands, Wands is the suit of inspiration, and there is something which you are inspired towards or drawn towards, which is, you know, something creative or artistic, or, you know, just some part of your nature, which is actually a safe haven for you. This, whatever this thing is that you do, whether it's something, you know, creative or artistic or just something that you feel very inspired towards doing, this is something which is a safe haven for you, and maybe it is not something which is judged to be, you know, deserving in the physical world. So it might not be, you know, a 9-to-5 job. You know, it's not something that is part of the pattern of providing in a traditional sense. So this energy of the Father of Swords, which is very much in the mental body, and it's kind of, it's got its alignment the wrong way around. It's assessing things mentally to say whether or not they have any validity, when really it is the experience that we get from doing things that shows us their validity or not. You have this internalized blockage here about your own worth because of what you are drawn to. And whatever this thing is that you are drawn to or inspired towards, it really is this safe haven, and it is a way for you to realign yourself, to balance yourself, to relax, and to handle the pressures of being a physical being in a material world. So you might be someone who is quite spiritual, or just, creative, or tied into more like ethereal energies, and this kind of structure of having to fit into what is assessed to be worthy is part of what is blocking your root chakra here. So now we are going to take a look at how we can start to work with this energy and start to shift this blockage. Okay, so we have the 3 of Cups and the 9 of Pentacles, and I am very much enjoying the consistency of the colors here that Spirit is bringing out, because in the first 2 cards we had 2 rainbows, which was the sword that the Father of Swords is holding, and this rainbow at the bottom of the 6 of Wands. And the rainbow, as you know, that the chakras are represented in the colors of the rainbow, moving from red at the bottom to violet at the top. And now for your root chakras, or for your root chakra cards, we have this very earthy red-orange theme, which red is the color associated with the root chakra. So that's just something that I am personally enjoying very much in these messages from Spirit. So the message that I am getting here, you have internalized this idea about your lack of worth from outside of you, from what you were taught, right? And there is this feeling that it is available to you to learn a different teaching here. And this could be, just through chilling out with supportive friends, right? This could be a therapist. This could be a teacher or teachings, or a guru, or, a spiritual teacher, some kind of psychology teacher who is going to both hear you and acknowledge your validity to you. And this is going to show you a different reality than the fear state which you have internalized, and it's going to bring you towards something which is more flowing and balanced. So this is really saying, if you have learned your lack of worth from someone or from something in your culture, go ahead and counter that with different teachings from a kinder influence. And now with the 9 of Pentacles, the 9 of Pentacles card literally represents our sense of satisfaction with our own material life, our own material earnings, or our stability, however you want to see that. And with the feathers around that, birds and feathers are beings of air, and air has to do with the mental body as far as the tarot goes. So this is using your mental body, this is using your thoughts to protect this sense of worth. You see how the feathers are all around the 9 Pentacles here. This is introducing a consistent way of thinking which says that you have worth as a material being because you exist as a material being. That is the reason. Beings have worth, and you are a being, and you have worth. And you don't have to prove the worth of that which inspires you either. Its worth is proved by your being inspired by it. And, you know, this doesn't mean that you don't still have to deal with the problems of managing a material life. We all have to do that, right? We all have to support ourselves somehow and nourish ourselves somehow, and we all have to strategize that and devote some time and energy towards that. But this is saying that what you're drawn to, its worth is proved because you are drawn to it, and you as a being are equal to other beings, and you don't ever have to forget this. Okay, so now we are going to move on to your throat chakra. Okay, so blocking your throat chakra, we have the Four of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. So what we are dealing with here is an energy where we're frightened of not having enough. We're scared of putting energy into things for fear that doing so is going to take us into a darker place than where we started. We're scared of losing what we have as far as our, losing what we cherish emotionally if we share. So this would speak of maybe a history where you have expressed yourself or been vulnerable in the past and you've gotten burned. And because you got burnt so bad, because it felt so bad, now you just prefer to hold what you feel in. And even though you know that this can't lead to an expansion, you know, it can't lead to, let's say, more that you would cherish, at least you won't have to lose anything. So this is really an energy here of holding on for dear life to what you know you do have, even if it means that you can't be sharing with others or collaborating with others, just because you do not want to experience this pain of expressing yourself and having everything go wrong because of it, or being judged because of it, or having this kind of drop you off into a pit of unhappiness because you allowed yourself to be expressive. There's a real fear around expressing, so you're just going to hold what you feel inside and choose to have that be enough, rather than sharing yourself. So let's have a look at how we can move beyond this blockage. Alrighty, so moving this energy, moving this blockage in the throat chakra, we have the Father of Wands and the Hierophant. So this is tying back into this passion that we were talking about in the, or with the root chakra. So with the lightning strike in both of these cards, this is really an ignition of passion. This is embracing the energy of how your passions make you feel to the point that you just can't help but be expressive about them. Whatever this is, you simply cannot escape how it makes you feel, and that compels you towards wanting to share it, even if you are someone who would normally keep to themselves. So don't shy away from what is making you feel enlivened or like jazzed or just wonderful. Don't shy away from what is making you feel awake and alive. Because whatever this is, it is going to allow you to start exercising your throat chakra, exercising your capacity for expression and bringing about healing to this part of you. It just, it bubbles up so far inside you that you cannot help but speak it out. And with the Hierophant here, this is something that you are passionate enough about that you might even find yourself becoming a teacher or someone who shares knowledge and wisdom about whatever this is. It's something which holds a key for you to feel better, and with that, you are going to be able to share it and kind of unlock that feeling for other people as well. And I'm getting the message like, please don't give up on that. Don't shy away from it. Just allow it to feel as good as it feels and allow it to naturally lead to your expression. No matter how nervous you might be about expressing yourself in this way, it's going to fall away because of how aligned whatever this is with you, with your soul, with what you are choosing to do in this lifetime. Alright, so let us have a look at your crown chakra. Okay, so I had 3 cards be pretty insistent about coming out to describe what is blocking your crown chakra here, and what we have is the Mother of Swords in reverse, Justice, and the Father of Cups. So there is an imbalance here. And I think this imbalance has to do with the connection between what I would call metaphorically your head and your heart, like your perception and your emotion. Because instead of being glad to allow them to dance with each other and be shadows and mirrors and, let's say, lovers to each other, there is a mistrustful energy. We are guardedly assessing emotion in a negative light rather than being willing to be guided by it sometimes, to revel in it. Have the acuity of your mental perceptions. Be in love with your emotion and vice versa. That is the message here, because what's happening now is we're trying to lead from the top down and have the mental body govern everything else, but we need to allow the whole being equal worth. So this is coming back to worth in the root chakra. It is coming back to our fear of expression, our guardedness in the throat chakra, our fear of our own relationship to our emotions. It is time to give the whole being equal and aligned worth, because the mind is very good at sorting things out and categorizing them, but it's getting in the way of your being balanced and flowing, and it's getting in the way of you loving yourself. Just like with this Nine of Pentacles in the root chakra, where it's time for you to use your mind to remember your worth. It is time for you to build these positive mental habits, and this also pertains to the emotional situations that frighten you. You are, I think, ready to step into something more courageous emotionally, something more courageous as far as showing yourself for who you are and what you care about, instead of having this blockage in your crown chakra where you are mistrusting your own feeling and the guidance of your own feeling. So let us have a look, get a message about how we can start to heal this energy and shift this blockage. Okay, group 1. So as we are unblocking that crown chakra, we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse and the High Priestess. Now, I don't think you can see at the bottom of this card, we have this little upside down owl, just like this reversed Mother of Swords here. So what this is really saying is it is time for you to turn the Wheel of Fortune. We are turning the Mother of Swords upright and giving and choosing a good opinion of your own intuition, a good opinion of the messages that come from your emotions. The High Priestess knows how to work with her emotions, and she values the messages which are delivered by her subconscious. These are the messages that we get from our gut feeling and from our emotion. And the High Priestess, she is not a fool. You're not going to lose your perceptiveness just because you choose into supporting and allowing and trusting your emotions. And also, you know, the High Priestess doesn't speak when she doesn't need to. So if you have been dealing with a blocked throat chakra, there's a good chance that you're someone who doesn't speak all the time. Sometimes a throat chakra imbalance might be that you kind of overspeak and that you anxiously over-communicate all the time. And again, we are talking about bringing all of this into balance, and she does speak, and she can speak when she has something to say. So this is really about knowing yourself and your depths and your secrets, and knowing how to work with yourself and giving your depths and your emotions their appropriate value, being comfortable in who and what you are, both as a physical being and as a spiritual or creative or inspired being. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you are going on a spiritual path to become a High Priestess, although I would like to point out we have the Hierophant and the High Priestess here. So you might be someone who does have spiritual teaching, and it might be part of what you are drawn towards is something spiritual. This isn't necessarily something spiritual though, but it is the intangible stuff. So we're talking about your inspirations and the stuff that really gets you fired up. This is the stuff that gets you feeling alive in your physical body, which isn't strictly related to the stuff that you have to do in order to support your physical body. Although you may be drawn towards becoming some kind of spiritual teacher or someone who shares that kind of knowledge, you know, like a yoga teacher or meditation or something like that. Or it may be more along the lines of artistic endeavors or music or sharing your creativity in some way. But this message is really about ceasing to fight yourself. It is about bringing your conscious and your subconscious into harmony. We're becoming a fully integrated being with no judgment on any one aspect of ourselves, simply allowing ourselves to be who and what we are. And it doesn't mean that you get to say what other people experience in the world, but sharing what you yourself experience. It has tremendous value, and this is the balance that we're striking here. And even if it's not sharing what you experience with a lot of people, at least supporting and integrating and ceasing to judge what you experience. This is our path with unblocking these 3 chakras. So I'm going to pull one last message, just any final advice, guidance. This is your alignment message for your chakras, for your energy at this moment in time. All right, group 1, here is your alignment message for your chakras today. So we have cosmos mirrors you and transformation. So this ties in exactly with what I was saying about allowing your conscious and your unconscious, your mental and your emotional bodies to mirror each other. This is choosing to turn that wheel of fortune and decide on a loving and supportive relationship with yourself. So instead of seeing yourself as full of shadows and flaws, seeing yourself as worth loving and supporting, and seeing that you have internal guidance in the form of emotion and inspiration, and integrating that and trusting that. And when you do this for yourself, your world will reflect this back to you. Your world will reflect this loving relationship back to you, and it is like stepping out of the energy of self-judgment or mistrusting anything that cannot be strictly analyzed as worthy within your physical environment, within your world, and allowing this love and support for yourself to permeate your whole being. So thank you so much, Group 1, for tuning into this video. I really hope that it brought you something that is helpful to you. I hope that it brought you validation and confirmation and support. I personally loved doing this reading. It felt really powerful, and I really hope that it brings something valuable to you. And as always, I'm completely blown away by the partnership of the non-physical energies in this universe which help bring out messages like this. I am so grateful all of the time to be part of this environment, part of this process. So I hope that you have a wonderful day, group number 1, and I hope to see you next time. Hello, group number 2. So the 3 chakras that we have coming out for your focus or your healing today are the upper 3 chakras. So we have throat, third eye, and crown chakras. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information on each one just to give some more insight into the kind of imbalances that can arise from these chakras being blocked. So with the throat chakra, this is all about communication, and it's communicating ourselves authentically. So it's speaking truthfully about what's in our hearts, what we feel, what we care about, what is most important to us. It's using our words to give form to those aspects of ourselves without fear. This is the place from which we can speak or sing about our love, and it allows us to express ourselves and our creative aspects and express what makes us feel alive. And when it's in balance, we feel secure and safe in doing so. So when it's out of balance or when it's blocked, this is when we don't feel safe to communicate. We are scared of having our true selves revealed. We might use our language to be manipulative, or overshare, or be kind of domineering or self-righteous in our communication. So it's either this fear of communication or it is this kind of domineering communication. Physical imbalances here. This could be sore throat or upper respiratory stuff like ear, nose, sinuses. This could be neck pain or pain in the back of your head or thyroid problems. So that is kind of the area that we are looking at with throat chakra imbalance. So moving on to the third eye chakra. So this energy center, this is the center that deals with clarity and with our minds, with the intangible kind of aspects of ourselves, with knowledge and intuition. So when this chakra is in balance, when it is balanced, we trust our more ethereal aspects like the mind and the imagination, and we trust the relationship between those parts of ourselves and our physical being. So we trust our own guidance, we trust our ability to interact with our emotions, to act with clarity. If this is out of balance, we might experience confusion, or we might confuse information with wisdom, or use the insight that we do have for personal gain, or from a place that is arrogant. You might also experience headaches or problems with vision, stress, mental, emotional imbalance, sleep disorders. So in order to kind of give a little support to this chakra, we really want to rest and use meditation and, take a break from looking at screens, give our eyes a rest. That is the area of the third eye chakra. It is really about our ability to feel clear and kind of sure of our experience. So moving on to the crown chakra. This chakra is at the top of our heads, and it is associated with pure consciousness. So this is the ability to experience transcendental or universal awareness. So this is the kind of awareness which transcends our personal, specific experience. It's the spiritual connection. So when this is out of balance, we might be like overly attached to our physical circumstances, or to our ego, or to our body. We are probably terrified of things ending. We're terrified of death. We don't know how to let go of the purely material aspects of our lives. We don't know how to let go of relationships that we're clinging to, or anything that represents that kind of safety that we perceive as being outside of ourselves. And we're kind of trapped in these more unhealthy patterns. So imbalance or blockage in the crown chakra, this could look like headaches or nervous system or brain disorders, high blood pressure. And in order to work with this chakra, again, the same as with the third eye chakra, we're looking at meditation. We're looking specifically at breath work, in the way that breath work, it connects us with our vitality. So these are the 3 chakras that we are going to be looking at for this reading, and what I'm going to do is pull out a couple of cards to see what is blocking each of these chakras for you, and then we will pull out a couple to see how we can start to be working with that. Okay, so I was asking what was blocking your throat chakra, but I actually don't see this as a blockage. It's kind of more about choosing to take a particular path. We have the High Priestess and the Two of Wands, and these cards are both twos, which that is talking about duality. This is talking about the connection between our physical experience here in the world and our experience of divinity. And with the High Priestess coming out, your experience, your connection with divinity, it's very real. Like, that connection is very real for you. And with the Two of Wands, it's probably tied in with, or perhaps, encompassing the path that you want to take in life. So yeah, I'm not exactly feeling a blockage here, but it's kind of about deciding what action you can take, which feels, let's say, safe and respectable, right, in this material world. Being able to create something which functions here. And you with the High Priestess, that's a reserved energy. It's not someone who's super expressive to begin with. So you might have been more reserved about sharing this aspect of yourself. But it seems as though you are choosing this as a path. So it's kind of about bringing this ethereal energy into the physical plane and grounding it here. And the throat chakra is the bridge between the tangible and the intangible. Communication, this is the first form that we can give to our intentions, where we are, taking what was hidden or obscured and formless and giving it some kind of presence or specificity in our direct experience of the world. So I am going to have a look at, unblocking this energy or working with this energy moving forward. So we'll pull out a couple of cards for that. Okay, so moving into opening up and working with the throat chakra here, we have the Six of Pentacles and the World. So with these cards, I'm feeling an energy of being able to share, like being able to harvest what you have already cultivated and share that around you. So this, the steps and the intentions that you have already set into motion, you are now in a position to draw from that. And it's going to make a difference or a contribution to your world in some manner, because of the choices that you have already made. So something is ready, like something is ripe for you to share. And it's not, it's not everything that is represented by whatever this is has already developed. Some of it is still, getting ready to blossom, getting ready to ripen, but there is something here now. And this feels like a balancing out of certain energies, as if you have been given certain gifts or energies, and now you are starting to share from that place, which in itself, it's going to perpetuate the positive aspects that you already know how to find or tune into, or that you are already allied with. And it feels like an act of love. It feels like making love tangible. So like a cute example of that might be like you feel so much love for a particular person and you feel it welling up inside you, and then, like giving this person a kiss, that is creating a tangible expression of what you feel. And that's the kind of energy that this working with this chakra feels like right now. Feeling that what has grown, it can actually be harvested and give sustenance here. So it is ready to sustain you in some way, or to be sustainable in some way, because you have worked enough on feeding into it, on realizing it, on making it present in your life in some way, that some part of this is now ready for you to share, and will be a gift both to you. It will give back to you, but it is also a gift to others as you share this, and perpetuate the presence of whatever this is in your environment. So let us move on to the third eye chakra. We will pull out some more cards to find out what is blocking this energy just now. Alrighty, so blocking the third eye chakra, we have the Eight of Pentacles and the Three of Cups in reverse. So first message that I'm getting here is we need to be careful about what we are creating here. Because what's happening is it's like your mind is getting tangled up because of the thoughts that you keep coming back to, which are in some way constricting your flow or your clarity. Like you're directing your mental energy into worries and into stuff that is just getting in the way of you feeling all right. And it's because you keep doing it. Like, it's because you keep picking those thoughts up and running with them. So we need to be tending to our well-being here. With the Three of Cups being in reverse, this is because you are not spending enough time cultivating experiences which feel good. It really feels like what is missing is the feeling of like basking in something that just feels wonderful. And the thing about doing that, the thing about finding that energy of like basking in appreciation, basking in something that just feels lovely, is it is going to disrupt that constricting, worried mental energy that has been getting in your way. Like that feeling that you have been perpetuating, where it's like you have to tend to everything that is concerning you, that is getting in the way of your own clarity. And the way that I feel about the sun in this particular image of the Three of Cups, I feel it literally clearing the third eye chakra if you take your time to rest in that space. So if you can, get out into nature in the sunshine and just feel it. Like, feel and appreciate that on your skin, on your third eye. Like, close your physical eyes and just feel that sensation of sunlight, rather than thinking, right? Focusing on the direct sensory experience, the direct pleasant sensory experience, rather than focusing on thinking. And if you can't get out into nature very much, I did get the message of like maybe look for some houseplants and clear the air in your living space, because they will put out more oxygen into your air in your space if you have them. So that also brings up the idea of breath work if you do any kind of meditation, or I'm sure that you can look up many, many different meditation methods on YouTube. They are bound to be pretty available if that is something that might be interesting to you. Or, just make a routine of like making yourself a cup of tea and relaxing and feeling good, even if it's only for 15 minutes in a day. The point is, you want to take this time to fill up something that feels lovely in your experience, and leave aside that like mental worried energy, and this is what is blocking your third eye here. So if you do any kind of wellness practice like yoga or meditation, and you haven't been doing it lately, then it's time to get back into that, or gardening, or whatever it is that leaves you feeling kind of energetically clear and not stagnant. That is what we're looking at as far as a blockage here. So I'm going to pull out a couple cards like I did with the throat to see how you can start working with that blocked energy. Okay, so looking at how to open up and work with this third eye chakra a little further, We have the Magician and the Queen of Pentacles. So what I'm seeing with this is you are someone who actually is very creative, but the problem with that, you have this very, very creative imagination, and sometimes it's causing you to get like over anxious and spin out in your mental energy. Like your imagination is so active and so powerful that it can think up shitty circumstances for you just as easily as pleasant ones. And if you don't tend to the damaged parts of it, it is going to spin out in that way. Because our psyches carry all our wounds, right up from childhood into adulthood, into our relationship with the world. And if we don't take the time to give those wounds somewhere safe to be experienced and seen and given nurturing and loving care, then they will come out in ways that damage us. So it's really about creating a safe space within yourself to process, and that can be with meditation or with yoga, or with, finding time to be outdoors every day and doing something that is consistent to support yourself even when things get challenging, and support yourself with unconditional love. For some of you, I'm feeling like this has to do with like taking baths or being near water. Doing something for yourself that is nurturing consistently enough that you feel brave enough to experience your negative emotions without running away from them, because you know that you have your own back. You know that you're going to help yourself feel okay again because you have a consistent self-care practice. And you know that you can handle difficult situations if and when they arise, because they will. None of us are immune to, whatever the challenges of our circumstances might be. But knowing that you can take care of them, knowing that you can take care of yourself, so that your creative mind, your imagination, it doesn't have to be constantly running in these loops and reinforcing these loops of worry, of negativity, of concern that something might come up that you can't handle. This is learning how to work with your mind, because our minds are a processing tool, they are a future thinking tool. They help us to foresee and deal with challenging situations. And you now are in the process of figuring out how to balance your emotions, how to take care of yourself, how to disengage with those difficult feedback loops, those negative feedback loops, how to disrupt them and choose into an energy of taking care of yourself. So let us have a look at our final chakra for this reading, the crown chakra. We will see what is blocking you there. Okay, group 2. So blocking the crown chakra, we have the Daughter of Swords and the Daughter of Wands in reverse. So there is a feeling here of being too young or too inexperienced. and there's some fear around that. Like we're able to observe these universal truths or these spiritual truths, but we're kind of guarded about sharing it. Like protecting your inspiration. Whatever this was with the throat chakra that you were ready to share, you're protecting it because you're scared of losing it. You're scared of allowing the connection between whatever it is that you're observing and connecting with that feels really magical, with taking steps to let this be for anyone except yourself. And this fear, it comes from feeling like you're not established enough, or like you don't have enough credibility in this field, in whatever it is that lights you up and inspires you. And you might be worried that if you do share this thing that is really dear to you and that you are really passionate about, and it isn't received well, then that blow might be too much for you to take. So this also ties back in with what we were seeing with the third eye chakra and the need to know in yourself that you can take care of yourself and have these self-care routines and patterns established, so that any setbacks you do encounter are just that. They're just setbacks. They are not something which pulls you to a complete stop or which triggers a wound, like a childhood wound, which is too deep for you to be able to move on from. So let us have a look at how we can work with this chakra to open it back up to where we can move forwards. So working with opening up and unblocking this crown chakra, we have death and we have strength. And that's super interesting to me because it felt really important that when I was initially describing the crown chakra, I mentioned that there is this fear of death that is associated with an imbalance of this chakra. And it seems as though there is something that you need to let die. And that process is not particularly comfortable. This is an aspect of your ego that you are having to let die. And what you're letting go of is, it's actually something that did a really good job of protecting you in the past. So without it, that makes you feel pretty vulnerable. And it makes you have to deal with allowing yourself to be vulnerable. These are major arcana, right? Both death and strength are major arcana, so this is a major shift, and probably something that you've been working on for a while, or something that you are feeling or have felt very intensely. This is allowing yourself to be okay with the fact that you are a fragile being in a temporary body, and sometimes shit feels scary. But the new strength that you are developing, it doesn't have the same hard edges that the old strength had, where, they protected you from pain, but they also protected or walled you off from pleasure and sweetness and love. This new strength, it's stepping into being more integrated with yourself and more honestly and authentically represented in the world, and more aligned with what you care about. So although the process is scary and it might bring up some old fears, it is taking you to this much more authentic place. And in this deck, the Strength card is number 11. And that is making me laugh because 11, that breaks down to 1-1, which adds up to 2, which brings us right back to that High Priestess energy, that duality, that integration of the divine with the material. And I don't know what the spiritual equivalent of booyah is, but what that feels like is like booyah. And that is what this reading is about. So I am going to pull out one last alignment message for you with this chakra healing, and we will see any last advice or guidance or message that Spirit has to share. Group 2, your final alignment message for this chakra healing. We have letting go, time for release. And we have honesty, and this is a super wonderful confirmation of everything that we have been talking about. We're letting go of the things that we have been doing to protect ourselves from the stuff that we are scared of in the material world, the stuff that is not serving us anymore. And with honesty, this is allowing yourself to see yourself clearly. This is acknowledging what you care about, what you're aligned with, what you're interested in, what you are into. This is allowing yourself to be seen, not hiding from yourself, not hiding from others. And it feels very positive, this letting go of any layers of protection, of any walls that you have been carrying, which, you know, in order to move forwards towards what you care about, they would get in your way. And it's not a criticism, it completely acknowledges that those things did serve you in the past, and we can thank them as we release them, but we can still release them and let ourselves move towards something more truthful, something more honest, and something which feels more wonderful. So thank you so much for tuning into this video today. It means so much to me that you did that, and I am very grateful. And as always, I am just blown away by the guidance that is available in the universe. I'm blown away by the energies that we can tap into, which help us and show us our way when we are in need of a little guidance or a little push or a little support from the spiritual realm. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much to all of the benevolent energies in the universe. And if it did resonate for you, then of course I would love it if you subscribe to my channel and leave me comments to let me know what you were thinking about it. And, you know, like the videos. I'm sure that anyone who watches YouTube regularly knows that those things will make my content more available for more people to see, and that will help me out in exchange for making the videos. So if you do feel drawn to give back to me a little bit, then that is a really great way to do that. And it makes my heart very, very happy. So please have a wonderful day and be kind to yourselves, and I hope that I see you again. Hello, my dear group number 3. Here are your 3 chakras or energy centers that we are looking at for healing today. So we have the heart chakra, the throat chakra and the crown chakra. So I'm going to go into a little bit of detail about what these energy centers are dealing with in our bodies, and then I will pull some cards to see what is blocking each of them and how we can work with them to heal them. So starting with the heart chakra, this is the seat of the divine soul or the higher self in our physical bodies. It is a center of love, which includes romantic love, where we feel devotion to another being, but it's not limited to romance. So it also encompasses the love that we feel for our lives in this world, and the delight that we take in beautiful experiences. That could be stopping to smell a flower, or it could be the most ecstatic moments of our lives. This is the chakra that kind of pulls us towards those experiences and lights up and revels in them. It is the midpoint in our energy centers and is thought of as a gateway to higher consciousness. So it lights up, or it's enlivened when we feel passionate or inspired, and it feels more closed and restricted and blocked off when we feel fear or rejection, or if we have unreleased emotional pain or anger or trauma. These are how the blockages to the heart chakra can manifest. There can be great confusion when we bring the unconditional love energy of the heart chakra to things that we actually need to process through our lower chakras, such as abuses that we have suffered, where anger and protection are actually appropriate responses. There's confusion if we blend those energies. And if those energies do get stuck in our heart chakra, we might feel cut off from the frequency of unconditional and divine love. So physical imbalances here might be, poor health in your heart or your circulatory system or your lungs, your arms, your hands. Emotional imbalances, this is like feeling like you're not lovable, or feeling like you can't relate to other people, or becoming judgmental as a form of self-preservation, and having the flow of love be constricted. So when we do have blockages in this chakra or grief in this chakra, it can be a very good idea to look for counseling or therapy of some kind. Also, it's a good idea to learn self-care and self-love techniques, because if we're not fed love, then we're less able to give it, and we are the only ones who can be guaranteed to feed this love to ourselves. This energy center is also where we might be feeling attractions to other individuals that are going to bring us towards healing, either through pleasant shared experiences or through painful ones. This chakra will recognize a kind of energetic compatibility on our path to unconditional love, and be attracted to explore that through relationship to another person. Moving on to the throat chakra, this is the center of communication, and it is communicating what we carry in our hearts. This is the bridge between what we feel and what we can manifest, what we can turn into something tangible. You know, our words are the first form that we give to our feelings. So when the throat chakra is balanced, we feel able to express ourselves and express our creativity and express what makes us feel alive and feel pretty secure in doing so. But when the throat chakra is out of balance, we don't feel like it's safe to communicate. We're going to try and hide ourselves. Or if it's out of balance in the other direction, we might be manipulative or oversharing or domineering or self-righteous with our language and with our expression. But we're scared of having our true selves revealed. So imbalance in the throat chakra as far as physical symptoms, this can be sore throat, this can be upper respiratory stuff, this can be ear infections, sinuses, nose, neck pain, pain in the back of the head, thyroid problems, exhaustion, things like that. And now our crown chakra, this is located at the top of our head, and this is pure consciousness. This is our ability to connect with universal consciousness and awareness and that which transcends our personal experience. So this is spiritual connection with all other beings, with the planet, with the universe. And when this is out of balance, this is when we're too attached to our physical circumstances. This is when we're too attached to people for what they represent, to organizations or locations or whatever it might be that we're seeing as having some sort of power or significance, that we're seeing as feeding us in some particular way, which we're too scared to release for fear of losing this sense of love. This is when we're identified with aspects of our ego, or when we're trapped in unhealthy patterns. So when this chakra is out of balance, physical symptoms that we might experience would be headaches and nervous system disorders, and tying in the crown chakra with the heart chakra here, like high blood pressure is a potential issue if there are blockages in both, because we have this pent up, bottled up energy, which might be stress or anger or resentment. But in general, the crown chakra, this is our connection with universal love, universal life force. So let us have a look at what is blocking each of these chakras. Okay, group 3. So when I ask the question, what is blocking your heart chakra, we have the Empress and the Nine of Wands coming out. So there is a very alone and isolated feeling coming through with these cards. Because this Empress card, it actually has very heart-centered colors. That pink at the edges of the leaves it's very kind of heart chakra feeling. And this makes me think of the tree of life, the connection with the universe. It's like that gateway that I was speaking about with the heart chakra, where, our roots are diving deep into the earth and our consciousness is branching out into the universe. and our heart is the seat where this consciousness resides. But with the Nine of Wands, it almost feels as though you have to build that tree of life for yourself. Like you believe in it conceptually, and you're trying to tune into that energy, but you feel like you're doing it alone. You feel like you can't actually connect, like you're just having to try and build it for yourself. This has a very dark night of the soul feeling, where you're having to navigate some really potent energies of grief or loss, and you only have your internal light to guide you because you're not feeling able to find the light outside of you. So it's like this concept of universal connection and universal love that we experience in our heart chakra is where you're turning for inspiration, but you also actually feel cut off from directly experiencing that. And there is this weight of grief, which that feeling of isolation from your spiritual truths, which you believe them but you can't feel them, and that carries this weight of grief. So I'm going to pull some cards to find out how we can start working with this energy, how we can start unblocking and healing this heart chakra. Alrighty, so looking at how we can shift this stuck energy in your heart chakra, or start to open up your heart center here. We have the Hierophant and the Eight of Cups in reverse. So this energy blockage, it actually started out as a protective measure, but now it's getting in your way. The Eight of Cups, it would represent a situation that we cared about, that filled our hearts, getting broken somehow, and us being left with this insurmountable obstacle of grief or confusion, or some kind of obscuring energy that we just can't see beyond. But this Eight of Cups is in reverse, so it's really outlived its usefulness in our awareness and in our energy, and in your decision making. So with the Hierophant coming out here, you might want to turn to a teacher or some carrier of wisdom here. This is a person or an energy which can illuminate this stuck grief pattern with some kind of clarity. So this could be a spiritual teacher. It could also be a therapist, or some kind of elder who they're able to hold their wisdom about your situation without their understanding becoming clouded by your experience and what you are representing. So they're going to hold the frequency of wisdom that you need with enough surety that you are going to be able to align yourself with them and their clarity, and they are going to be able to give you the key to unlocking this energetic blockage, or your association with them is going to be able to give you that key. So it is possible for you to move past this energy. It just might involve finding a teacher or a therapist, or someone of that nature who you trust to help you move forward. So let us have a look at your throat chakra and what is the blockage or the imbalance there. Okay, so looking at what is getting in the way of your throat chakra, so getting in the way of your feeling able to express yourself freely, is this protective energy that you have put around yourself. Because part of the reason that you have been feeling like all you can do is carry your own light, and like you are blocked off from experiencing the feeling of universal love, which could be described with the word light, is that you have intentionally shut yourself off. You're unable to trust anything outside yourself because there is a confusion in your energy centers. So this is going back to what we were talking about with the heart chakra, with processing experiences in your heart that should really have been processed in your lower chakras. As an example, let's say you needed physical protection at a time in your life, like physical, material protection from someone who is damaging you. If you try to process that through the unconditional love of the heart chakra, you really have no way of creating what you need. And then every time that you want to communicate or connect with what's in your heart, that energy is going to come up and block you and get in the way of you feeling and expressing your desires and inspirations, and also get in the way of you being able to give and receive love. And it's even going to make those feelings of love and inspiration feel dangerous to you or empty. And I am also feeling here like there is some unexpressed grief, which is blocking your throat chakra from being able to express freely. So let us see if we can get any guidance from the cards about how we can start to shift this energy. Okay, so looking at how we can start to work with this throat chakra energy and removing the blockages or working with healing this energy, we have the Three of Cups and the Lovers coming out. But before I talk about that, I just wanted to clarify a little further about that Hermit energy that we were talking about, because you might be someone who actually feels a boundary against seeking out the kind of teachers that we were talking about with the Hierophant. Like, you might feel a boundary against some of the spiritual teachings that you have encountered, and we'll talk a little bit more about processing things in the lower chakras that needed to be processed in the lower chakras rather than the heart chakra. Because if you needed to create, for example, physical boundaries between yourself and someone or something dangerous, or if you needed to process something emotionally or assert some kind of willpower against something that was damaging you, so that would be the kind of processing that we might be able to do through therapy, something like that. And if you tried to process those things with divine love, the problem is that the energy of divine love loves unconditionally. including loving whatever or whoever hurt you. And if you tap into that, it could be very confusing and it could hurt you worse. Because if you need a boundary against someone or against something, it is absolutely fine for you to let divine love love them and get yourself the fuck out of there. Let divine love love you, let it love them, but don't feel that you need to be channeling or feeling or processing that divine love feeling towards whatever that situation was if you have your own healing that you need to do. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the message about opening up this throat chakra now. I have to admit that I was feeling some confusion when I first pulled these cards out, and I think there were a few different energies coming through. So for someone, this is a message about couples counseling, but that is not everyone. That is just a real direct, real specific message that wanted to come through. The general feeling here, it's moving towards self-actualization. It's moving towards a balanced energy and towards feeling like you are bathed in that light that has felt absent and feeling free. But you need to relax. You need to let yourself relax. You need to make time to rest and enjoy resting. Like, notice that you are resting. You know, we had that hermit energy of staying alone and always protecting yourself from outside influences. And what I'm really feeling with that is, like, please just let me rest. And, you know, sometimes we do get caught up in having to provide for ourselves all the time, having to do all of this stuff for survival, and we really can't just rest and allow things to process out. So this is about letting your body rest, letting your mind rest. And it's only after that that you might be ready for some really sweet and wonderful sharing of emotion with your loved ones, or sharing of love in some capacity. But in order to get to that place of readiness, there needs to be this reset and relaxation. It is kind of like you have been carrying a whole armload of stuff for what feels like ever, and now you're going to put that down. But after you put it down, you actually need to take a break to remember what having unburdened arms feels like before you're ready to start using them again. And it's after this complete reset and letting go of everything that you are carrying that you can start to feel free again and feel like you're connected and soaring and free in this light that you were feeling so disconnected from for so long, this light of divine universal connection and love. So even if you are drawn to some kind of teaching or therapy, and even if you have actually had a complex relationship to seeking out teachings, you have to make sure that you are not experiencing the draw towards healing, the draw towards therapy as an obligation. There's got to be lots of relaxation interwoven into this, and putting zero pressure on yourself in any way to reach whatever, milestones or whatever indication you might think is an indication of you being healed within a certain time frame. So let us move on to looking at your crown chakra. Alright, group 3. So looking at what is blocking your crown chakra here, we are going back to that energy of emotional independence with the Nine of Cups here. We have the Nine of Cups and we have the Daughter of Wands, and the Nine of Cups ties right back into that Nine of Wands, where you are creating your own world tree. It ties right back into that Hermit, which is also the number 9 in the major arcana, where you are following your own light. And this is the same energy here, where you are filling your own cup. And this is very much what you are used to doing. And not only that, but I'm getting the feeling that you are actually adept at approximating or manufacturing the frequency of that crown chakra universal consciousness, transcendental awareness for yourself, as though the way that you have learned to manage your own energy gets you close enough to that frequency that you don't feel like you mind the way that you're blocking yourself from receiving it with an open channel. And I think, understandably, you're also very attached to the ways in which you have learned to tune into peace and awareness, independent of any guru or teacher or therapist or whoever who might ultimately fail you or be found to be in some way fraudulent. But there is an energy here of your vision being clouded by anger. This is the anger of those lower chakras, which has made its way up and is distorting your experience of your upper chakras because it has not been processed where it needed to be. So the boundaries around the peace that you have created for yourself seem as though they are forged partly in anger and in fear, actually, that you will lose what you have worked so hard to gain. Imbalances in the crown chakra are partly characterized by attachment to the ego. So these are attachments to the processes of the ego that we have developed, for our own protection very often. So let us have a look at how you can work towards opening up this energy and working with some healing towards it. Alrighty, my dears, so we have the star and the tower coming out to show how you can be working with healing this crown chakra. And what this is saying to me is that it is your healing journey itself which is going to force you to rebalance this energy. The star in the official sequence of the tarot would follow the tower. It would come directly after it. So that would be when we start to heal after something has fallen apart because it was not structurally sound, because our belief system was not structurally sound, something like that. But in this case, it is your draw towards healing that is going to create this tower moment for you and force a separation from the energies that you had set in place to protect your ego from the aspects of energetic healing that you are afraid of or angry with. So we have the same lightning as with the Hierophant card coming in to strike this clarity into your energy centers. And we've got 2 strikes here. So this is your heart and your throat chakras. And these lightning strikes are burning your tree. They're burning this lone world tree of connection between heaven and earth that you built for yourself. This independent connection to divine consciousness kind of on your own terms. It's going to be disrupted, or it has been disrupted, in order for your connection to deepen and in order for you to leave behind some of the dead weight, some of the energies which just aren't serving you. So that might be very uncomfortable while it's happening, but it is a gift from Spirit nonetheless. Because I think you have been asking or praying for such a gift to come through. So that might happen in the form of a teacher or an energy which delivers something uncomfortable to you, which you come to understand as you process it, that it was working for your benefit in order to open you up to divine blessings and open you up to divine love. So those are your messages for working with your chakra healing today, and I'm gonna pull one last message, and this is your alignment message for your healing. Okay, friends, so I have to be honest and say I had to come back a different day to do this alignment message because I felt pretty burnt out by the end of this reading, and that turns out to be relevant because Spirit is working very closely with you and with me to bring out this message and trying to bring out something specific into clarity and understanding for those of you who chose this group. And part of why this message was pretty confusing for me is that there is something energetically similar which happened for all of this group, but the circumstances of that are all pretty different. And so picking up on like contradictory specifics between different individuals had me feeling pretty confused for a while. But I have managed to tune into what the overall energy is, and this message is about balance when you get down to it. Here was what I think probably happened for a lot of you, and that is that you experienced a very deep wound in your histories, and because you didn't have help or weren't able to process that wound in the way that you needed to, for example, physically or emotionally, or with a sense of security in yourself and your right to act, the part of you which is drawn towards what we would call spiritual connections, it kind of got out of balance, because your draw towards those spiritual experiences, it kind of manifested into your life as a draw towards intense experiences, like the kind of intensely vibrant passions that we feel when, for example, we fall for someone or use substances, or for some people this might be like performing in front of people. If we're performing because a part of us feels kind of empty and like we need a crowd to fill us up, that intensity that we feel from those experiences, I think it's been conflated for a lot of you with the feeling of spiritual experience. And there totally is crossover between those two things. But if we're seeking and seeking and seeking that kind of intensity without paying attention to the balance, that's when we're starting to drain ourselves. And like, it's not necessarily something like substance abuse or, always falling for people in a kind of unbalanced way. It could easily be like a method of connecting with spirit that's pretty well regarded. There's a famous quote, which I don't quite remember, that is coming to mind, but it's something like, after the enlightenment, the dishes, or after the enlightenment, the laundry, or something like that. So it's talking to the times when we have those really intense spiritual experiences, and then we still have to manage our daily experience, right? Our day-to-day life, it doesn't stop. And so that is the balance. And if we don't find it, we're going to burn out. Codependence, which is the message on this card, is specifically when we give our power away to a person, or, it doesn't necessarily have to be a person. It could be a substance or a pattern of behavior or whatever that is. But when we give our power away like that because we believe that without that person or that substance, etc., we won't be able to reach the same level, then we're disempowering ourselves. We're giving our sovereignty to someone or to something. And that is really the key that the Hierophant who came out was trying to give you, or is ready to give you, or you're ready to receive it, right? This key to unlocking the codependent behavior where you're giving your power away and finding the balance within yourself. And I think it's super interesting too that the colors coming out on this card, which says codependency and key to freedom, are really reflective of the chakra cards that we pulled out. Like this tree is, or the two trees are growing in a ground that is blue and green, just like the depictions of the throat and the heart chakras. So it seems possible to me that for some of you, like the ground that you thought was most important for you to be growing in, or most stable, has something to do with being able to be expressive about what's in your heart, like being able to feel what's in your heart and be expressive, which is super admirable. There's no, I have no quarrel with that, or there's nothing wrong with that, but it isn't the whole balanced reality. Like, roots don't just go into the surface of the earth, they go down into the dark of the earth, and they have to grow around rocks and like negotiate meeting other roots, and they have to stabilize the tree and find nutrients and all of this you know, stabilizing and tending to the needs of the whole tree. And the other thing that is coming to mind with this color depiction here, the magenta that is there is really reflective of the way that this crown chakra in this card is represented with a magenta color. And there's two things that are coming to mind with this. Firstly, like, the light is all around these trees. These trees do not have to grow against each other in order to be tall and to be stable. They're totally capable of reaching the light, which is, it's all around them. They're, you know, they're totally free to find it. But also that magenta light, it looks to me like a sunset, which is showing that, you know, night is coming and the dark is coming, and this is the balance, and we need that rest, and it's a necessary part of the cycle, because too much of what we might call light, and I think in this reading that idea of light is really referring to like intensity, the things that make us feel very intensely vibrant in our beings. Too much of that overwhelms and drains us just as much as too much darkness can do. So this, again, this is really about balance. In this little picture of the angels where we're talking about delight, they're all wearing different colors, which makes me think of like balancing all of our different chakras and not necessarily being consumed in the experiences which delight us, but finding the balance for the entire being. And, you know, part of that balance, as far as balancing our chakras, is processing things in the right places. Like trying to process something mentally that we need to take care of physically, it's just not particularly useful. So there is this balance to find, and Spirit is very much helping you. The messages that I've seen in these cards with those lightning strikes coming in, Spirit is very much helping you to find that balance, balancing rest and intensity, and, you know, balancing the enlightenment and the laundry and the mental and emotional and physical experiences, and pointing out that you are capable of this. You really are. So, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I'm going to wrap it up here. You guys got a little more than everyone else, because Spirit had some stuff to say. And I really hope that it did bring out some clarity and confirmation and validation. And, you know, the reason that I use those words, clarity and confirmation, it's because I'm not in a position of superiority here. This is more like a conversation that Spirit is having between all of us. And, you know, I'm participating in the conversation by making the videos, and you're participating in the conversation by watching them and engaging with it. But you are powerful. You have what you need within yourself. You don't have to outsource it to, you know, tarot on YouTube or whatever it is that that you can use to connect. It's just a tool, and it's just part of the conversation. However, if this did resonate for you, I would love it if you were to like and subscribe and leave me a comment to let me know how you feel about it, because those are really simple and easy things that you can do in order to give back to me for making these videos. This one, I'll be honest, it pretty much wiped me out whilst I was making it, and I think that's really cool, because it was a lot of stuff coming out, and it was a lot of really clear messages for some people from Spirit. But yeah, if you would like to give back to me, that's a really easy way to do it. And am so happy and honored that you chose to watch this today, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.